Hi, my name's Jacky Draper. Growing up when I was younger, family life was on the dysfunctional side. My dad divorced my mum when I was just 4 years old. So for me, I think from then my heart was broken. But I didn't realise that because I was so young, so I was just a child and I just kind of muddled through and just got on with being a kid. And it was really when I hit my teenage years and I became pretty rebellious towards my mum. Even though she tried so hard with me, I just kind of, everything she told me was just like, no, I didn't want to listen. And I just kind of went off the rails, and I had my first son quite young. Being 16, I was only a teenager myself, and never really at that stage was capable of looking after a young baby because I was pretty messed up inside. So my mum took over and started looking after my son, and I just kind of went off on this destructive path and just turned to drink and alcohol and just relationship to relationship and just on a destructive path. And I just felt like just something was really missing from my life. I then ended up in a relationship which then turned abusive. I had 2 more children by then, and I really became rock bottom then, with no self-esteem left. I even thought about suicide. I remember one day I just had this thoughts going through my head and I didn't know how to switch them off. I was just thinking of everything, and just all my past came flooding back. And I remember coming to this place where I just knelt down, and I remember crying out to God and just asking him to forgive me. And I just remember just flooding with tears, just kept crying and crying and crying. And I just remember this release that came upon me, just everything lifted off of me. And then it was then that a few weeks later, a friend of mine who came over and done my hair for me, she invited me to Bethel, and she said, come, it'll be fun, you'll enjoy it. And I was like, And I didn't know at the time, I was a little bit unsure. I remember there was a drama on that night about domestic violence, and I remember just, my heart was just touched by this drama, and I just felt like God was saying to me, you're meant to be here. I just remember this tugging on my heart, but I was still unsure. I didn't know quite what was going on. And then I started to come into Bethel on a Sunday, and I think it was a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, I remember Pastor Ken calling people up to the front, and if anyone would like to give their lives to Jesus. And I remember just this tugging again on my heart. And so I just listened and I just went up. And then I just decided to give my life to Jesus. And so from then my life has been transformed, and it's been a gradual process because I feel like I'm changing all the time, and I feel like that God is the one that's helping me. Even after becoming a Christian, I still have challenges because I think it was about a couple of years after, and then I'd come out of that relationship, and then my son, from the relationship which it had caused him when he became a teenager, he started getting in with the wrong crowd. He started hanging around with boys that were in gangs. At one point they were actually taking knives out of my house, and I was literally frightened that he would either get stabbed or he would stab someone, or something terrible would happen. So I had quite a tough time with him still, but God, each time God showed me that he is there for me. Even though I was facing these challenges, he was still strengthening me. I was still able to get up, to go to work, to look after the children, to run the home, and I just know that he gives me the strength to do that. And you know, and since then, now a year later, 2 years later, he's actually come away from these boys and he's actually settled down a little bit now. So things have shifted again, but I always put hope in God because I know that his plans for me are good. His plans for me, for my family, are always good. And I know that even through the tough times, that I have hope in him. So I know that I can trust him. Is there any hope out there? 1,000,000% yes.